Summary of No Country for Old Men by Cormac McCarthy. The story of No Country for Old Men takes place in West Texas along the U.S.-Mexico border in 1980. The book starts with a speech by Sheriff Ed Tom Bell, the sheriff of Terrell County and a World War II warrior, in which he talks about how evil is getting worse in America and how hard it is for him to understand the changes he is seeing. This speech and the ones that come after it set up some of the ideas of the book. The story starts with Llewelyn Moss, a war hero from Vietnam. Moss is out looking for antelope when he comes across a bad drug deal. He finds a Mexican man who is dying in a truck with a lot of heroin in it. Moss ignores the man's pleas for water and goes to look for the guy he thinks survived the massacre. He finds the man dead next to a suitcase full of $2,400,000 in cash. Moss takes the bag and goes home to Carla Jean, who is his wife. Later that night, when he wakes up, he feels bad and goes back to the scene to bring water to the dying man. When he gets there, the man has already been shot and killed. At the same time, two drug sellers find his truck. Moss runs away by jumping into a river when the chase starts. He knows that the men will use the information from his truck to track him down, and he knows that they will never stop looking for him. Moss tells Carla Jean that she needs to go to Odessa and stay with her mother when he gets home. Moss runs away when she goes to Odessa. Sheriff Bell and his deputies start looking into the bad drug deal and the deaths that may be linked to it. Bell is haunted by the deaths of his men in World War II, so he makes it his goal to protect Moss and Carla Jean and get justice for the people who hurt them. Chigurh, a vicious hitman who kills people with a slaughterhouse bolt gun and often flips a coin to decide whether or not someone lives or dies, is paid to find Moss and the drug money. Moss plays a dangerous game of cat and mouse with Chigurh and the Mexican drug dealers who have been sent to get their money back. He does this by using his survival skills and knowledge from the military. Chigurh finds Moss with the help of a tracking device that is attached to the suitcase with the money. In Eagles Pass, there is a shootout in which both Chigurh and Moss are hurt. Moss, Chigurh, and a group of Mexican drug dealers who have just arrived join the fight in the middle of town. Moss just makes it across the border into Mexico, but before he does, he throws the drug money over the bridge into a patch of river cane next to the Rio Grande. Moss wakes up in a hospital in Mexico, and Carson Wells is sitting right next to him. Wells' job is to stop Chigurh and get the box back. Wells is a Vietnam warrior like Moss, but he was in the Special Forces. He tries to talk to Moss about how dangerous his situation is, but Moss thinks he can handle it on his own. Wells gives Moss his card and then leaves. At the same time, Sheriff Bell keeps looking for Moss. He goes to Odessa to see Carla Jean and asks her if she knows anything about Moss. She says that Moss can take care of himself, so she won't help him, but Bell isn't so sure. He tells her to get in touch with him if Moss calls. Wells goes back to Eagles Pass and looks around the town for hints. Chigurh is waiting for him when he gets back to his hotel. After they talk for a short time, Chigurh kills him. Moss calls Carla Jean from Mexico and tells her that she needs to go to El Paso with her grandma. Moss calls Wells' phone after he talks to Carla Jean, but Chigurh picks up. Chigurh tells Moss that he will let Carla Jean go free if he gives him the money, but Moss says no. Moss, who is still hurt, goes back to the United States and gets the money from the riverbank. He starts going west toward El Paso, where Carla Jean is waiting. Along the way, he picks up a young stranger to help him drive. At a hotel in Van Horn, the Mexican drug dealers find them and kill them. Later, Chigurh shows up and finds the money. He gives it back to the person who lost it. Chigurh is still looking for Carla Jean, even though Moss has been killed and the money has been returned. Carla Jean is killed by Chigurh when he finds her in her grandmother's house. Chigurh is driving away when a car that ran a stop sign hits him. Chigurh pays David DeMarco for a shirt and then leaves the scene. The gun that killed Carla Jean is taken by DeMarco and a friend from the seat of Chigurh's truck. A few months later, Bell goes to see his Uncle Ellis to talk about how he feels guilty about what he did in World War II and how he didn't help solve crimes in his community. He talks about his decision to stop being a sheriff. When he gets home, he gets a call telling him that the gun used to kill Carla Jean has been found. He asks DeMarco questions, but the young man doesn't help. At this point in the story, Bell feels like he has no choice but to give up. He chooses to quit, and his wife Loretta agrees with him. The story ends with Bell's departure, which is a sign of giving up to the evil forces that will continue to rule the world.
About the author. McCarthy grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, where his father worked as a lawyer. McCarthy went to the University of Tennessee to study creative writing, but he never got his degree. He has been married 3 times, to Lee Holloman, Annie Delisle, and Jennifer Winkley, and they gave him 2 children. Together with Winkley, he went to Santa Fe to raise his young son John Francis. The Orchard Keeper, McCarthy's first book, came out in 1965. McCarthy has written a total of 10 books, and he is now one of the most well-known American writers, but he still lives alone. In 1981, he won a MacArthur Fellowship. In 1992, he won the National Book Award, and in 2006, The Road won the Pulitzer Prize. Several of his books, like No Country for Old Men, have been turned into movies. McCarthy lives in Santa Fe.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.